Okay, so I put up on WhatsApp. You'll see the Mishnah, the Maimar refers to here. So that way you'll have a better picture what's going on with the Kankan thing. So it says like this. The Mishnah says, Mishnah in Ma'aser Sheni. Oh, actually, so basically the Mishnah there's also with sound. The Mishnah explains how in certain situations, if a person exchanges wine for he puts wine of Ma'aser Sheni in a vessel, in a kankan, the kankan, it's certain situation, the kankan itself becomes Kedushas Ma'aser if it closes it. So that shows that's supposed to us kankan fail yain. So how can a kankan become Kedushas Ma'aser? The only thing he did was just put the wine in the kankan. So basically, that proves that the kli is tough to the bottle to what's within the keli. Okay, I just wanted to illustrate it. So similar when we talk about lamailo, talking about kelim in Atzilus and the spheres as a klib tailor. So the keli in the normal way the kli and operate together, a keli that's the famous expression in Tikkun Ezeh, and Garmoya one. So Garmoy, according to this pshat, is kelim. The Alter Rebbe explains in Igras HaKodesh. Showing in the Nistalus HaKlim, or Hashem Shem Nistalus Mekli. What happens with the Nistalus Mekli? And like even in our case of a like we said, if a person takes out a plate of food and the food is less than the shiur, so it's potter. What happens? It takes away the food. It just moves the plate from one rishus to the other. So then the keli is not but. So that's the two ways the keli cannot. The proper way for the keli to operate is that the oil is within the kli, or the oil is within the kli, then the kli is bottled to the oil. Shenken, when the keli, the oil is not there, ain't a klip tailor there. But kolsheken, but it's negate to us is not just oil is mistal. Kolsheken shenishbar kli, because we all want to bring a marshal of shviras hakeli. Oil matayil is shviras hakeli. What happens to shenishbar kli? As I have cheres ba'alma. It's a stam piece of cheres, she'ein la shaychas klal ha'oichel. There's no connection there. So there now the understanding what is the meaning of shviras hakelim. The kasher mistal, fact shnish ba hakelim, al yizeh nasachos mitzius. Mizeh nisava mitzius the netzolim. Again, so he just wants to show. It was part of explaining, but he started saying that others can be creation of mitzius, of a separate being. But he said earlier, oilam shad nefesh. Oilam means a mitzius. What allows the creation of a separate being, independent being outside of Elikus? That's the shviras hakli. The kli is broken, which means the kli is not a keli to the oil. The kli becomes its own separate being. Not only is it doesn't have it, not nishbar kli, it exists in a state that it can't contain the oil. So what happens? It becomes its own being. Like just like we said, if you take away the oil from the kli becomes a mitzvah with natzma, especially when you break it. So that is state one, which we describe that the concept of Metzius, we said earlier, in Elam Shana Nefesh, the concept of Ishavas HaMetzius, to be a creation of something separate, is a result of Shviras HaKelim. Okay. When we say that there's Shiva Kelim, that the existence is a result of Shviras HaKelim, it doesn't apply only to Metzius of Elam Abriya, the universe of the creation. In a Gam Netzorim, even Atzilus is also, according to the way Kabbalah describes it. First there's the Olam HaToyu, and then there's Shviras HaKenim, and then the Eivishter created the Olam HaTikun to fix the Kenim of Olam HaToyu. Gam Netzorim is Shiur HaKenim the Toyu. This is Beitz Chaim, the Gam Pchinas Atik, the Atzilus, even the Madrig of Atzilus, not Stam Atzilus, even Atik, Lokach Shenis Mikesar the Ban. That's the language of the Kabbalah, that it took the first 5 Madrigas of Kesar the Ban, the Pchinas Olam HaToyu. In this particular Beitz Chaim, in this particular context, Kesar the Ban relates to Olam HaToyu. And in Olam Atzilus, that even Atik Atzilus took means it's derived from, it's a result of the Olam HaToyu. Elash Atzilus is Atakas Abira, Shemet Arab's Klal. But like I explained, the Bechlal, the way it's Chaim describes the whole situation of Shviras HaKenim, Toyu, and then Tikun. So there's Olam HaTikun. Olam HaTikun go for first is Olam in the world of Tikun. In the Olam HaTzilus, that's the Eivishter took all the Kaviyachol took the Nitzutis of Toyu, and he fixed them Kaviyachol, repair in a way that it's perfectly fixed. There's no negative effect. Olam HaTzilus, which is the Spheres. That happened in Atzilus. So he doesn't use the Lashon Tarevis Ra, because it's not right. There's not Tarevis of anything negative. Aval Obiyah Ushiyah Betarevis. Mashenken Biyah, the Kelim of the Shiur Kelim fell lower, and that was the Biyah. And Biyah, the Biyah contains also a mixture of the negative part of the ego. Then he gets another, to explain this better, like I mentioned before, we spoke about it, that the Chassidus always talks about there's 2 parts. There's Tzimtzum and there is Toy, Shviras HaKenim the Toy. Both of them are needed to create the Olamus. So now he says that the shiur of Shviras HaKenim, what is the shiur of such a concept of Shviras HaKenim? That's the Tzimtzum. So the way he describes the Tzimtzum is also not in the standard language. Shiur of Shviras HaKenim, shiur chalis in that shiur, said Yerida Sa'ir La'achar Tzimtzum, the Diluk Shalek Seder V'Adog, which is really another way of describing the Chiddush of the Tzimtzum. What is the concept of Tzimtzum? Concept of Tzimtzum is that it's not gradual. Tzimtzum means there's a huge gap, there's a huge leap. That in order to move from step 1 to step 2, from Eretz Shifnei Tzimtzum to Ishtashos, it's not a gradual movement, but it's a Tzimtzum. There's a major jump, there's a major block. You have to jump over it. So there's a leap. That is the way it describes in this Maimar is Yerida Sa'ir La'achar Tzimtzum B'derech Diluk. The Oyer La'achar Tzimtzum, B'yachas to the way Lifnei Tzimtzum, it's B'derech Diluk. It's a leap. Shaloi Kasei Davadog, not in an orderly and most importantly gradual. Adog means gradual. It's not gradual. Now that the fact that the Oyer descended, we on page Kufpei Hey, Shom Escheles, so in that idea of the reader of the Oyer in a way of in a leap, that's called nefila. It's called like falling. You fall from one from a high place to a low place. You don't descend gradually, descend suddenly. So that's called nefila. It's like falling. And that is called So it brings a marshal of that concept of nefila of the leap. Marshal when a very great king lowers himself, descends to a state of talking to a very simple person. So he describes the simple person as oni. Oni means nothing. It's not just money. It means the person in a different status, different type of person. Is oni v'shaf. Well, ask bash pasa was zayin. So the melech, the great king, lowers himself, descends in the world of the ish oni v'shafel, and not only is he talking to him, he also helps him. This helps him with his panas, with his food. That state of being that the king should relate to this lower type of person. Person was in a very low state of being. That's considered a yerida ashpal. It's like a state of adhog. It's not gradual. It's a leap. No, the normal way is that the king talks to his minister, and and slowly it reaches the person who is the low status person. But here, the king himself directly talks to the oni. It's like a state of adhog. It's not an orderly conduct. It's not gradual. Again, I'm not sure what that means exactly, but okay, we can say that problem is it's not the marshal. There must be some more subtle way to express it. But the way it's described here is that the way the food situation happens in the palace of the king. It's more how do you translate bedakus? It's more sophisticated. Maybe that's what it means. The way the food in the world in the palace, the king's palace, everything is very high grade. Okay. But he says bedaka says because he does not interested in the akshama. If it's tastier, it's something more. It's a more subtle type of food. Yeah, Chassidus talks sometimes about food, food stuff that is more edel and something that's more gas. Maybe that's what he's saying. The food by the king is more edel. Maybe that's what it says. Upon him, so when he allows himself to feed the simple person whose food is much lower level, lower grade, so that's considered a leap. So like I said before, that there can be a more gradual way of descent. If the king speaks to his top advisor, to his minister, it's not the same thing. So talking to the Sa, it's not a real Yerida because the Sa has a certain ishtabus. Is equal in a certain sense to the Melech.
He also eats fancy food.
I don't know. Sometimes now he's already not talking about the food anymore. Now he's talking about the conversation. So he uses standard mishalim, like when you open a medrash, the medrash always talks about these type of things, a melech and a ani, shuffle, this. So that's the visual images in the mishalim from the medrashim, melech and the simple person, etc. But we don't have to be bound by that aspect of the mashal. The idea is pretty straightforward. that when someone of a great stature lowers himself to feed or discuss something with someone who's in a much different operates in a different world, so that's a leap. It's a yerida. And I'm not even sure why I needed all these details. Possible that each detail explains another aspect. I'm not going into that. So he just gave a marshal of the concept of dilug. Dilug means that the mashpia in the makabel in the different worlds, and the mashpia, instead of going in a gradual way, he jumps into the world of the makabel as he is in a very low space. So what is the nimshul? The nimshul benegeya the yachas of olam hatoyu to the world below. The Eibishter relates to the Olam are like something very low and the tough, but they are diluk. So the Ein Sof is nimshach from his highest madriga into the Olam Hashfelim. That's diluk. Shloka say the Vadog. V'zen noisen mokom shechak shvir sakelim. Shvir is hakaf nesamtiz netzarim nebuah. Okay, so he gives us this whole drama in one line. He doesn't say noisen mokom. Noisen mokom means, and we can say it in a few ways. Yeah, we can talk about shvir sakelim also in a different way. If like the usual mashal of shvir sakelim, kelim moatim, when the person looks at the sun, his eyes damages his eyes because something too strong overpowers and destroys you. So we can use that aspect of the mashal in our case also, because it's with the dilug, because it's like a leap from very high to very low. So that itself can cause the makabel should lose its bearings, and it shouldn't be able to do makabel shvir sakelim. It doesn't. The mashal doesn't exactly fit that mashal I just gave now, and he doesn't really use it. He says, repeats what he said earlier. That the tzilas makan shvir sakelim. What is again? I did describe shvir sakelim before. Shvir sakelim before is described that the keli is not ready to be bottled to the oil. Really, a real keli has the oil within it. It's tough about. Shvir sakelim is really a description of a situation where the keli is not bottled to the earth. It breaks its connection to its source and becomes independent. So he says that type of situation is a result of the dilug, of the fact that the oil and sof did not reach the makabel in a way that he can that it's gradual, but it was a dilug. Dilug means also he left his own state like the melech, and he reached out to the lowest person. So in a way, if you think about it, it means he lets the oni like this before the king comes to the oni. So the oni feels separated from the king, but he's not separate. The opposite of separated. The oni feels whatever he feels. But the dilug means that the king the king gives the oni chshivas. He says, "Oh, you're also important." So that, in a way, gives the keli a feeling that I'm my own. I have my own importance. So I think that Marshall will explain it better. So that gives it its own importance. Automatically, it creates a situation of shvir sakelim, in the sense that the keli becomes its own being. It's not connected to the structure of the beat. It's not, doesn't fit so well. Anyway, right? The next step is first the shvir sakelim, and then, like we said earlier, the next step is that the shvir sakelim creates in turn Metzius Nivorim Netzolim. Becomes the Metzius Nifod that the Nivorim Netzolim become their own being. Elo, Shanetzolim is Baal B'Dachas Abir, Shem Shtar B'Skal Klal, Mishkos V'Lo Yigo Hara. The Elam Atzilus, the effect that Shver Sakerim Elam Atzilus is that it's all the Eibishter fixed all the, so to speak, he repaired the Shvira. So the Elam Atzilus, the spheres are in a state of tikkun. Everything is fixed. Everything is fixed. And the Loigo Hara. There's no evil there. Like, no was. But we still have that what we spoke earlier in Olam Shana Nefesh, that even in Atzilus there is Metzius, there's Kalim, there is something tangible. Okay, that's an example of Metzius. Yes, Chesed Gvur. There's some separate, independent, objective concept of Chesed Gvur there. So, it sounds like he's mechalik two things: Chesed Gvur Amagulim and Isavas HaKelim. I mean, earlier when he spoke about Metzius, it sounded the Kelim. Yes, I'm not sure. The Chesed Gvur is Chesed Gvur Amagulim. Maybe that's an expression in Kabbalah. I'm not sure what it means. But Kavan, the Isavas HaMetzius Netzolim. What is the ultimate purpose? Why do they have to create Netzolim, the Metzius? Yirdei Shachakach Metzius the Biyah. The ultimate purpose, they also wanted to create biyah. Like it says sometimes of Siddur, we learned that Atzilus is really a mamutza. It's a vehicle through which the Eibishter eventually creates Eilamas biyah, the Eilamas Abriya, Yitzir Asiyah, and our own world. The Mele, so that's the ultimate purpose. Asher Shom Yesh Gam Torah V'Sra. When you reach biyah, is already in Atzilus. We say Lo Yigo Hara. But in Eilam Abriya, in Eilamas biyah, there is a mixture of evil. Agam the Sham, yes, in a Cholish, when it's Echel Abash in a beetle, like we said earlier, we said earlier that in Elam Abriya are they Cholis. What is a Cholis? A Cholis, Echel Ava, Echel Aira, so that's beetle, that's total consumption of the Eibishter. So why we say it Ra? Why we call it Taruvas Ra? Kom kem yeshem gam ken inyan Taruvas Ra. So in the Elam's Biyah, that's what it says in Kabbalah. It says in Kabbalah, we're trying to understand what it means. Kabbalah says that Elam Abriya hu b'toiv miutera. Elam ha'yitzir mechza mechza. Elam ha'tziyah hu b'ira. What does it mean? How is it possible in this spiritual worlds? And he just said there's Echel Ava v'ira. How is it possible there should be also Ra? What does the Ra mean? Love in Ech yichol yes shnei, right? Gam shem bitul mekom geshem Taruvas Ra. So now he starts a new discussion to explain what does it mean that has both, that has the beetle, and the same time it also has a mixture of Ra. So he brings a mashal which is quite a long mashal, quite long. It's almost like more than a page long, to describe a situation of within the creation, that we have two opposite modes, two opposite types of connection to Eibishter. One, there's the beetle, which means that it's in state of bottle to the Eibishter, bottle to the Likus. Same time, there's something somewhere, there's hidden Taruvas Ra. That is eventually you'll say this is our Avodah. That's the Avodah of Biurim. Biurim means to elevate the good from the bad, so the good should be perfect. And sometimes even the Ra is elevated. But the point is that in this system, in this universe, when there is Taruvas Ra, there's good and evil together. What's meant? So that he goes into a long, elaborate discussion. So he starts with this. This physical sun and moon, they're constantly in a constant cycle. The fact that they turn constantly, that they're in a cycle, that is an expression of that the Gemara, it's a Gemara of Basa Daf Chafei. The Gemara says, "Kol sivuv mizrach hamayr." The sivuv, the sivuv hayemi that we know, with every morning we wake up, we see the sun rise. What side it rise? It rises in the east and it sets in the west. So the sivuv of the shemesh is from the east to west. And if you pay attention to the moon, you'll see the same thing. Shemesh v'Yarech is from east to west on a daily basis. Why? So the Gemara says in Bava Basra, there's a concept, whatever that means, that Shechina is B'mayrev. The fact that they turn from east to west, from Mizrach to Mayrev, is an expression of the bittul, of the shtachavot of the Shechina. So in other words, they are in a state of constant bittul. Why does the sivuv b'mezach hamayrev mean bittul? Because re'epach sivuv atzmi shalem. Shesivuv atzmi shalem hamayrev b'mizrach. Mikol kem esam mizrach hamayrev shechina hamayrev. If we learn Kiddush HaChodesh now, but in general concept of the sivuv, the turning of the heavenly stars, bodies. So we know there's when they get to Shemesh, there's sivuv hashnasi and sivuv hayemi. So the sivuv hashnasi, which is its own sivuv, that's really mimayrev lemizrach. It's the opposite direction. So the way he says pshat here, sivuv atzmi shalem, their inherent turning is really the opposite direction. It's mizrach is mimayrev lemizrach. So the fact they go against their nature every day and turn from mizrach to mayrev, that's an expression of the bittul to the Shechina. So what we see here, that the shemesh v'yarech in a state of bittul, like we said before, that when we get to learn Yonim in the holiday, that in the biyad zeichalav, mikom yesh b'hem ta'arubes, u'ma shnitfos m'chas yesh la'atzmi. The same time that the shemesh v'yarech in a state of bittul ishtachavot to the Shechina, there's an aspect to them that they feel their own independent ego, which means ta'aruves. He doesn't say ta'aruves what? I think it's b'diuk, because he doesn't call it ra. It's not even. It's my diuk that not mamish ra. There's a mixture of something other than bittul. The fact that they feel their own being, that is already a certain lack of bittul. So now he says a very powerful statement. The fact that we find that some people bow to the shemesh v'yarech and worship them, consider them avodah zarah. Why is it happening? It's a very, he's going to continue later talking about it also in human terms. If someone, it's a very, I mean, we're not going to talk about it in a film concept, but in the worldly concept, he makes a very important statement. If someone is just doing his own thing and everybody starts worshiping him, so say, it's not my fault. I'm not interested. People should worship me. I'm just my own person. And people, I mean, worship is a strong word. People give him too much honor, etc., etc. So he says the real reason why people worship you is because somewhere in a subtle way you feel your own being. So that in turn makes people also look at you and worship you. If, like I said, it's quite a statement. if the Shemesh V'Yareach would not feel their own ego, nobody would worship them. There would be no person to worship them. Ki'im, kashem nitfosing, it's a statement. The statement is making, and he's okay. We'll see it in the mashal. When a servant stands in front of his master, there's a master and there's a servant standing next to him, and he's in a total state of bittul to the master. He's in fear and in awe of him. Now all of a sudden there'll be another person who will come. Imagine, he says, if the servant stands in front of the king and he's bottled the king, all of a sudden a third party will come and he'll show achno to the Evet, and he'll make the servant feel as if he's also Metzias. Lo yuchal Evet l'kavos his cloud. That servant will not be able to accept it. Why are you looking at me? Why are you giving me any attention? Why are you paying any attention to me? I'm nobody. I'm just a servant here. Why are you respecting me? Why are you talking about my milus? I'm nobody. I'm just bottled to the melech. If we see that this Evet servant is fine with someone else honoring him and respecting him, that shows that he lacks bittul to the master. If it would be in a full state of bittul to the Odin, he wouldn't be able to accept the third person's bittul to him. That's the way it's supposed to be in this scenario. If the Eved is a real Eved, if it's a real servant, he should not be able to accept any honor in his own name. He's a nobody. He's just a servant. The fact that he allows that what?
But so let's say if it's a general in army and in front of the king, so that the general himself also has power, even though it says the Eved Meshubat to the king.
Well, yeah, okay, but the important part is that's the key. The key is when the general is in his own office, then it's fine, because that's his function. But when he's in front of the king, in that state, should not allow anybody to give him any honors. That's what they describe it. Look, it's like a lot of Mishalim in Siddur. I don't know how it works in real life, but one second, let me just finish this marshal. Okay, it's quite a long marshal. So before that, there's a famous. Again, I didn't want to bring with Gemaras from Elam Makdush, but I guess that's the easiest way to do it. Remember, the Rebbe once said that Chassidim used to call the other Chassidim with Tata Reb. The Rebbe said there was a Chassid of Radat Chaim, David Chaim. They used to call him Hirschel Chernigov. Why Hirschel? Why not Reb Hirschel? The Rebbe explained once that because his own Tzias is bottled to the Rebbe, so you can't give him any honor. That's the same idea that says here. That because the Tzias of the Chassid is the Chassid of the Rebbe, he doesn't feel that he has to be called with all these titles that he is an important person. In his own place, he's talking his own important person. But when we talk about him in the context that is a Chassid of the Rebbe, is totally bottled. That's what the Rebbe spoke once. Think, yeah.
How do you compare to Shemesh V'Yareach?
What?
Shemesh V'Yareach.
Yeah.
What does it mean? Shemesh V'Yareach are not having a mind.
The Rambam Hilchos Seder HaTorah clearly says that the Kechavim have a nefesh. Okay, so that's a different issue. That you're right. It's pointing out another point. That's one of the things that the Rambam says in Seder HaTorah, that he
Smarter
says
than men, smarter than people.
I mean, we don't know what it means. We can't relate to it, but that's what it says. Hashemayim Misafim Kohet Keil. So that the heavenly bodies also have intellect. That's how the Rambam says clearly. Yesh lam nefesh. What it means, they don't have a nefesh of a person. We can talk to them, but their action is not. You're right that it doesn't fit the way we perceive these things. To us, the Shemesh V'Yeh are just pieces of daimim. To us, they're daimim, but the Rambam says that's the prevalent view. But the Rambam says in Chassidus supports that Yeshlam day of Askel. It says that the heavenly bodies do have some kind of intellect. So their action is not stam like a daimim in our world. They have some more. They have a nefesh, and when they're mishtach, it's an expression of people.
In the Davening Shabbos, you just said on with that, but we know asking, as you said.
No, it's someone that's been asking me something else. Someone that's been asking me that you can learn, you're right, there's two ways to understand that expression. Someone that's been asking means that he created them with Hashem b'chachma, that's his day of being asked, it's not theirs. That it's something that's been asked, I'm not sure. I mean, some people will say that shot, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. But okay, but the key is the Rambam, and it's also about Chassidus. The Rambam in Seder HaTorah says clearly, "Agalgalim yesh em balei day of askel. Akechavim agalgalim balei day of askel." Okay, what it means? What do you mean? But truth is, we just go by our intuition. We think that the sun and the moon is just a piece of daimim, like to us, a rock and anything that's not alive. So to us, probably the sun, but the Chassidus says, and the Rambam says that's not the case. That the Shemesh has a certain nefesh. I mean, remember Rashi says when they get to Oretz, the same land we step on, but that is the lowest. Rashi says in Bereshis, Nasa the Adoma Kalachim, the Adoma made the decision. The Rebbe said one thing, the Adoma did something else. There is a concept that even the land, the Oretz, also has some kind of nefesh.
Bulach was stressed with me.
Yeah, okay. That's the expression. Yeah, true. All right. Then Al Caponim, I mean that part. That again, the point is that it's not from our global perspective. To us, it's like I said, intuitively we feel when we look at the sun, we think it's just a piece of like a big rock. So it's daimim. But what Chassidus says that it's not the case. There's nothing to us that tells us that it's not the case. But we just don't experience it. We don't see it. But like you say, there is a concept that they have a nefesh. Mamela the ishtachavo is the people. That's one way to explain it. But then, if you want, we can explain it. Okay, but that's the standard way Chassidus explained. Okay, that's one side issue. But again, what he's talking about here now is a very important point, which is negative even to us, the poil. That's, in other words, in our experience, the concept of Eved and the Melech doesn't exist. The closest we get to it is the Rebbe, but that the Rebbe is an elam hakdusha, so it's not. I don't want to bring that in, but we what we learn from what discussion we have here is an important point. That it is important because, in other words, like a mussar shmutz, I'm saying, The person thinks, I'm just being myself. The fact that people treat me with honor, it's not me. I didn't do anything. I'm being who I am, and people honor me. So you can think that it's a mele that it's not, doesn't show lack of bit. Comes this Maimon and teaches us an important lesson. Should not just the fact that other people show you too much respect. again, respect is a good thing. I'm not respect it. I mean, kibud tamid chachamim, kibud av, bichlal be'elchabel sabrius. It's not a negative thing, but when it's in a way that it's a little overstepping the boundary, so the fault is that's the chiddush what he says in this kettle we're learning now, that he should know that deep down, if the person that's being honored here, if he would have real humility, nobody would honor him. The fact that people honoring him, even though he's not interested in it, he's supposedly doing his own thing. He's bottled the melech. The fact that he allows, the fact that it can be a possibility that somebody else honoring him, that shows that deep down there is some yeshus. That's an important musar derivative from this thing that we're learning here.
But here he's saying about Dakutara. I know you didn't get the answer. How much Dakutara?
He didn't get there yet.
I know, but because the point is saying because Siba Gasudara Shela Isha Obed Oto. So the fact that the person is the one who is Obed Oto, that's the Siba. That's what it's saying. I mean, I know you didn't get there because the time is running out. That's why I brought it up.
Okay, but so we'll talk about it tomorrow when we get to it. Okay, let's finish the what we said. Okay, now we're ready. See, now it says it's a little more less subtle. It's not just that the fact that he's bowing to him is already right. The servant shows he accepts the fact that he's being honored. That's the way it's supposed to be. A real servant of a king should not be able to accept that he's being honored as his own person. Okay, we'll start this here. We'll start tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you.